There is some insane data that just came out with regards to the Iran war and what it means for our portfolios and the stock market going forward that we must go through right now in this video. We all know the market just made a really big rally off the lows. Now maybe it's peaking out a little bit. Now maybe it's going to reverse down to the bottom and go even lower based on these charts that we're going to go through right here. We're also going to go into my $1.3 million account. Yes, I'm experiencing a little bit of volatility right now, but we're going to go into this account. I'm going to show you what I have open and how I plan to capitalize on what is expected to come in the stock market right now, because this Iran situation, it's actually pretty interesting what I just found out. So here's the deal. I have two vertical lines on this chart right here. This is a 1-year chart of the NASDAQ, by the way, the triple Q index. So here's the deal. This right here, the vertical blue line, it shows you 10 months since part 1 of the Iran war started. This one over here shows you part 2 of when the Iran war started. So this was Operation Midnight Hammer, where we went and dropped the bunker buster bombs and tried to blow up Iran's nuclear facilities underground. That's when we did that last year, June of 2025. Then this year, we obviously have the main, war with Iran, dropping bombs, blowing up a bunch of stuff, whatever. That happened about 2 months ago. So there's a lot of critical things that we could understand from duration of this stuff right here, for what it usually means for previous events when this happened in the stock market. So if we take a look at this chart right here, we're going to go back and forth to this one and a few other ones at the same time. This shows you 8 previous wars that the US was involved with. World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, Gulf War, Afghanistan, Iraq, and then Iran right now. This is a little bit out of date. It's 1 month out of date, but it doesn't really matter. Here's the thing to understand. Number of months from the start of the war until the bottom of the market. We could see that it's roughly 5 to 7 months if you go on the median or the average. So we're just going to say 6 months to go with the middle. Okay, 6 months. If we go back to this chart right here, some people are going to say, well, Brandon, when we did Midnight Hammer, right over here when we just dropped the bombs on the nuclear facilities, that wasn't really the start of the war. That was just an escalation, but not the real start of the war. But if we do say that was the start of the war and base everything on that, it's like, hey, how long this war is dragging out for over the average duration, this is probably going to mean that the bottom is in, because the bottom is usually around 6 months. Where's the bottom at? Hey, 10 months, if we go 6 months from that, kind of like this area right here is close to where the bottom's at right now. So it is very possible. But if you're one of the people that believe that the war didn't actually start until we actually started blowing up a bunch of stuff beyond Midnight Hammer right here, then it's like, hey, the bottom might not come for 4 more months. So maybe this was a dead cat bounce, market goes up, and then we just trend down and to the right till it's about 6 months after this time frame right here, and then that's when the bottom is going to be. So my thoughts are this. I say that the war started when we dropped the bombs last June, which means that the war has been going on for about 10 months, which does likely mean that the bottom is in my opinion. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to experience a lot of volatility going forward. And hey, maybe I am wrong. And maybe we're going to factor in that this was when the war started. And that means we have 4 more months of down and to the right, potentially finding a bottom of the market that nobody's expecting could possibly come. And it is very possible. I put it like an 80% chance this was the bottom for the year. I put it at a 20% chance we're going to end up somewhere down here though. Because of the things that we're going to talk about in this video, I think it's all going to come together and make sense. So take a look at this chart right here. This is actually so interesting to understand. Many people don't actually get this. This shows you from 1945 until basically right now. So we're going to say this is roughly an 80-year chart. So what this shows us is how many times the stock market fell in a given percent range. So how often does the stock market fall 5 to 10%? In this 80-year time frame, it happened 84 times. So basically once a year. How many times 10 to 20? 29 times. 29 out of 80 years, we could just say for that example right there. And then obviously the deeper the dip happens, the less likely it is to happen. So if we take a look at this, 40% plus, average decline of 51%, that happened 3 times in the last 80 years. So just call it once every 25 years to keep it simple. Once every 25 years, that means it's probably going to happen in your investment time horizon. Who's to say it's not going to happen right now? It could happen right now. And when you understand that, the whole dynamic with the economy and the stock market and valuations and earnings growth, it's like, well, stock market valuations are a little bit hot right now in my opinion. I see the S&P and Nasdaq as maybe 5 to 10% overvalued. So the likelihood that we're going to have a crash of over 50% based on that, it's honestly not likely. The market is not a bubble right now. It's just a little bit hot. And on top of that, when you factor in that earnings per share growth is so strong, the economy overall is okay, interest rates are historically low based on the last 50 years, they're at 3.5% right now. Overall, things look okay out there. But I do think that we're going to experience a lot of volatility. So I put as high likelihood that we're going to fall into this category right here of a 5 to a 20% decline. And this is very possible to happen. So let's just say we're going to go into the 10 to 20% bucket right here. Average length of the decline is 4 months. But also, if we take a look at the chart that we looked at before, the average length of the decline is 5 to 7. So we'll just say 6. So we're talking about 4 to 6 months right now. It's pretty similar. And again, if we take a look at where we are at in the market right now, you see that the war actually started right here, in my opinion. We truly did drop bombs on Iran right here. It's been 10 months, which indicates based on history that the bottom is likely in for the stock market. It does not have to be in. We might get some black swan event. We might have earnings growth slow down as we're getting Q1 earnings rolling in right now. But at the end of the day, the bottom is likely in, and the overall picture for the stock market looks okay. It's obviously not as compelling to allocate right now because the market's a lot higher. I mean, this rally was insane. The rally was almost 17% in just a couple weeks. My portfolio, guys, I talk to you about it all the time. My portfolio almost went up $300,000 off of this dip right here from 1.1 million to basically 1.4 because of the things that I capitalize on, and I'll show you inside this account in just a second. So while it doesn't mean we're not going to fall 5 or 10% from right here, it's very, very possible and very, very likely, to be honest with you. But the most likely scenario is that the bottom is in. I'm just going to leave it at that and not beat a dead horse right here. So what I want to look at next, beyond this chart right here, is this chart right here. Because everyone out there gets so emotional and so freaked out in times when the market's going down. The headlines come out saying the world's going to end. It's World War III. Jim Cramer says it. Everyone says it. You go watch YouTube videos to try to confirm your bias of, oh my God, stocks are falling. I'm panicking. What the heck do I do? So times like this, it's critical to keep your emotions in check. It's critical to just understand that you want to buy a good company for less than what it's worth. That's all I do. That's how I scaled my account to many, many millions of dollars in various other brokerage accounts too. And that's basically all Warren Buffett does too. When things are super compelling, like down here, there were some deals. I then just throw options into the bucket of selling portfolio secured puts and buying call options to capitalize on the, extreme fear in the market in that time frame. So when we look at this chart right here, what do we notice going all the way back to 1928? And these are just war times and the stock market. I mean, there's a lot of volatility, there's a lot of bumps, there's a lot of bad things that happened, and basically every single one of these events right here, it probably felt like the end of the world. The headlines probably read very, very bad, and everybody was like, we're never going to be able to come out of this, most people at least. But it's very clear what happened. The stock market went up and to the right. Companies were able to continue to grow their profits, continue to grow their revenues, continue to improve the fundamentals of the business. And when the fundamentals of the businesses improve, in the long term, that's going to dictate where the stock prices are going to go. So it doesn't matter if we get the Russia-Ukraine war or the Afghanistan war or the dirty war or the Iran war right now. Companies in the long term are probably going to continue to grow their profits, and then the stock prices are going to follow that. Take a look at this chart right here. Crisis events and the S&P 500, and shows you how much money you could actually have if you would just be able to keep your emotions in check and buy good companies for less than what they're worth. And this is just showing you the brainless S&P 500, which I talk about on this channel all day long, how most people don't beat it. And it's pretty bad if you don't beat it because it's just a brainless thing to buy it and forget it. Going back to 1970, if you would have invested $10,000 in the S&P 500 and did nothing, $10,000, you would have $2.1 million at the time of this chart, which is 2022. It would be a lot more right now because the market's much higher than that. But you get my point. Every single headline right here, there's a lot of bad things that happened. You still would have done fine. You would have made it through the dot-com crash. You would have made it through 2008. You would have made it through COVID. You would have made it through all of the craziness that happened in this whole time frame if you would have just kept your cool and kept your emotions in check. So going back to what's happening right now in the market, history says that the bottom is probably in. History says the profits dictate where companies go in the long term. Right now, profit growth is very, very strong. Right now, the valuation level of the stock market, it's not really that bad. It's just a little bit overvalued. So when you understand that, this time likely isn't different. This time is likely just another opportunity for long-term investors. But if you're a short-term investor and you look at your feet all day long and you refresh your account 14 times a day, you're probably going to start getting a lot of gray hair and losing your hair because that stuff is stressful. That stuff doesn't work. It matters to buy a good company for less than what it's worth, and then you're going to do okay in the long term. So while I'm seeing a little bit of volatility today, I don't care, guys. It doesn't matter. What matters is what I hold within this account right here. It does not matter, oh my God, Brandon's down $20,000 right now. This is live. The market's open right now. I'm not down $20,000 today. Like, sure, I guess I am on paper, but it's like, what about that I'm up $300,000 from a few weeks ago? What about the fact that my cost basis in this account was roughly $150,000 years ago, and now it's almost 1.4 million? That's what people need to focus on. So let's go dive into this account. Let me take a look and show you guys what I have open right now and what I've been doing recently to capitalize on what's happening in the market. Okay, so here's inside the account. It is a little bit more simplified than the last time that we looked at it. And of course, I show this real time all day long in Discord, plus all the research, all the stuff I do in my stock sheet. You guys know what I do in there. I don't have to pitch it. I don't want to pitch anything. I just want you guys to do it if you want to do it. If not, that being said, the similar base portfolio is still here. Triple Q, which is the NASDAQ, VOO, which is the S&P. Some Tesla shares. I did recently just trim a little bit of Tesla. Tesla is a story of the future, and I just think that I don't want to be overweight in Tesla right now. The valuation's super hot. Yes, if they scale Robotaxi and Optimus, it could be really big, but it's kind of like a pipe dream right now. So I made a lot of money on Tesla. I'm still up 149% on when I bought it. 149 a share, currently 373. Still have Tesla. But I did trim a few other things besides some shares of Tesla since the last time you saw this account. I did trim my Robinhood call options because I felt like the stock was not compelling enough to hold call options. And I also trimmed my United Health call options because I felt like it was not compelling enough to hold that. And if we glance over at my stock sheet super quick right here, take a look at Robinhood stock. Robinhood stock at the time of this video, I think it's down like 6% today. But it was a little bit more expensive when I closed it out. I closed out my Robinhood calls, I believe, yesterday when the stock was like 8% higher. I'm not trying to time the market perfectly. It didn't make sense to have calls in my account when the stock was a little bit overvalued, because this is kind of like my hierarchy of bullishness, as you guys know. If I'm bullish, I'll buy shares. Super bullish, I'll sell puts. Portfolio secured, not cash secured. And if I'm max bullishness, I will buy call options. But I can't really be max bullishness if the stock was a little bit overvalued when I had those calls. I want to see something like Meta, where it's like 69% of intrinsic value, meaning intrinsic value is close to 950 and it's trading around 658. Those are things that I am max bullishness on, and it's no surprise that I'm okay to buy shares, I'm okay to sell puts, and I'm okay to buy calls. I kind of flow through how bullish I am for how I allocate this stuff. So at a time that the market overall was a little bit expensive, the S&P and NASDAQ ran up a little bit more than I felt like was justified, I wanted to trim a little bit of the higher risk stuff in my account. When I'm really bullish, when things are cheap, I want more risk. When things are a little bit more expensive, I want less risk, because when things are cheap, the future expected returns for the market look good, kind of like down here, the future returns look great. And, obviously they were great, but up here, future returns don't look as good as down here. So I want to have less calls up here and less sold puts up here, and just have my overall portfolio, the volatility factor of my portfolio, as close to the S&P 500 as I can get it. And the way to do that is to trim high beta call options like the Robinhood calls and United Health calls too. So right now you can see I have $41,000 in cash in this account. It's not only that much, it's only 3.5%. But, maybe I raised a little bit more cash depending on how things get. Maybe valuations keep getting worse. Maybe the market keeps going to the moon, but then earnings come in bad. Maybe that would justify me to trim a little bit and take a little bit off the table. But also maybe the market goes down and to the right, but then earnings come in really, really good. And if I just go plot that earnings per share growth line that you guys know I talk about all the time on this channel, it's going to look something like this right now, in my opinion. If I just go to plot it, earnings per share growth line is kind of around here right now. So market a few months ago, basically end of last year, we'll just say October, November, market was above the EPS growth line. It was a little bit hot. Then market went below, so it got cheap. And now market's a little bit above, so it's a little bit expensive. This distance right here should be around 5%. Let me take a look right here. Yep, 4.3%. Market's down a little bit today, so sure, 5%. But if the market goes down and to the right, but EPS continues to grow, I'm not going to want to have this cash sitting here doing nothing. I'm going to want to allocate that. So I'm kind of just being patient and seeing what happens with the market overall, and then I will go and deploy it. But things that we looked at right here, the bottom is probably in, but it's not guaranteed. This is nothing new in the stock market. This is just another event that causes volatility, but in the long term, we're probably going to be just fine. Statistically speaking, eventually we're going to get the quote big one. Is this one the big one? Probably not, but it's possible. And that's why I always have my portfolio allocated, keeping ratios in check, so that if we get the big one, I'm not going to get wiped out. I'm not going to get a margin call, and I'm going to be just fine. Because who's to say this can't happen right now? If we agree that this is going to happen every 25 years, why can't this happen right now? It could, it's just unlikely. When a market's a bubble or things look worse out there in the economy, it's more likely for that stuff to happen. But now I just don't see it unless some crazy black swan event happens where who knows what that's going to be. But that's a video, guys. Hope you got value. Keep your emotions in check. Buy good companies for less than what they're worth. Basically, all Warren Buffett does and all I do. Use options to magnify ultra high compelling trades that you're bullish on, like selling portfolio secure puts and buying calls. And that's it. Just keep it very simple. You got value, like, subscribe, hype, drop a comment, do all the fun stuff. And if you want to learn more about my option system, watch a video right here. It'll help you out a lot. I'll see you guys in the next one.